And in this segment, we have a local author with us in studio. This segment of the Morning News is being sponsored by the West Winds Bookshop in the Duxbury Marketplace across from Foodies and online at westwindsbookshop.com. Great place to get books. Well, in this segment, joining us is local author, as we mentioned, Kathleen WATD. Dayan is with us. She is in studio, and this is her first novel. It is called L.A. Ice, and Kathleen grew up and lives here on the South Shore, and we're happy to have her in studio this morning. Kathleen, good morning.
Good morning, Rob.
Thanks for coming in today. Okay, now, this is your first novel.
It is.
L.A. Ice. Now, first of all, tell us what that title means, because that's something I didn't know what that meant, and I imagine a lot of people may not know what that means.
Sure, Rob. L.A. Ice is a slang term for methamphetamine, and one of the characters in the book is a meth addict.
Oh, okay. Now, so we'll talk about this. This really revolves around two major characters, it seems like, right? We have Stevie is the girl.
That's correct.
And Michael is the guy that she meets. So tell us about these characters, because they are both dealing with, they have their own demons to deal with, and they somehow find each other, right?
Yes, that's correct. Stevie is a 20-year-old girl from Massachusetts, actually, and she's an alcoholic. She leaves home and shortly thereafter finds herself in a drug rehab in Georgia, where she meets Michael. And Michael is a very charming and brilliant musician who's also a meth addict. And he has sort of landed in rehab against his will. His parents have had him court-ordered into this rehab. And so they both ended up there reluctantly, at least. And they met there. This is obviously a problem that a lot of families may be dealing with themselves. The characters seem so real, but I guess it's all fiction. Is that correct? I mean, how did you do the research on these characters to come up with? Well, I'm a recovering alcoholic. And I spent 2 months in a rehab, very much like the one in my book, when I was in my 20s. So I wanted to write a book about that did ring true, that had some of my experiences in the novel, so that it was relatable and authentic. It was a profound experience for me.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah. Now, so you base some of this on your own experiences. You were mentioned in your 20s.
That's correct.
Wow. So was that tough? Were you having issues with your parents and friends? Were people concerned about you at that time? Absolutely.
Yeah. This is not my family in the book. I made a point to write them very differently from my own family.
Yeah.
But some of Stevie's experiences are mine. I started drinking when I was 11 years old, like Stevie does. So I experienced a lot of the fallout that comes with that, with having addiction in your life at a young age, and really just relying, for me it was on alcohol primarily, relying on that in all the social situations in my life until I was 26 and I got sober. And you come out into the world after you leave a rehab, and you have to learn how to do everything in your life, how to function without this huge crutch that you've had. And so that was one of the things I wanted to write about. I wanted to pass on this idea that, I think when you're really, overwhelmed with an addiction, you feel like you can't get out. And you feel like even when you get this opportunity, it was an amazing opportunity for me to be in this rehab. I didn't see it that way when I got there, like Stevie. I didn't. I was frightened and
they're both scared, either that or they. Stevie's got a little bit of an attitude at times, and because I noticed for the main part, whether she puts up a front, it's mainly she's just nervous and anxious. It seems like really, at the start when she first gets there.
Kathleen, was it difficult for you to write this when you're thinking back to your own experiences?
In some ways. I mean, in some ways it's cathartic. I've actually been working on this particular novel for a number of years. In fact, I wrote the first draft back in the very early 90s, and I put it aside. But it was, even then, I had this feeling that I need to express this and share this with people, because when you go to a place like I went to, and you walk in with this feeling like my life is over. And that was genuinely the way I felt. And I thought I was just at the end of this road. And it's not the case at all. It was the beginning of my life. I was able to do many things that I had always wanted to do once I was able to, get myself disentangled from this addiction.
And then there's also Michael. Let's not forget about Michael. He's dealing with issues of his own, and there he is. You would think has a good life. He's a very talented musician, but he can't seem to get along, I guess, without his where he has that dependence. And you're right. In the beginning, I think it's his dad and his bandmate, his best friend, and yes. They get him in the car, and they're finally at the end. He's almost. He's very weakened at that point, right?
That's right. He is. And he's a young man, too. He's 21. He's almost 22 when the book takes place. And he's quite bright. And as you said, he's from a privileged family. And part of the reason that I wrote Michael the way I did is because I feel like there's a lot of stereotypes around who is an addict. And I wanted to show that that's not been my experience at all.
I was going to say.
I used to have people say to me, you don't look like an alcoholic.
Okay, so so you're wondering, what does an alcoholic look like?
Right. Yeah.
You're right. Or who is a drug addict, or someone that uses the methamphetamine? That must only happen in cities, right, in urban areas.
That's what you hear. You know? And,
so we think that, but there may be a lot of other families that have a son or a daughter that they're maybe going through this, right?
I think that's true.
Yeah.
And with all the drugs, particularly in this area of the country, we haven't been hit by the methamphetamine epidemic yet.
Yeah.
But it is in other areas of the country, which is why I chose that particular drug. It's quite dangerous. They say that the average hardcore meth addict lives only 5 to 7 years.
Wow.
It's a very dangerous drug, and it's just infested parts of this country. The Midwest and the West Coast particularly. So I chose that drug for that reason, to raise some awareness about it. But again, this idea of Michael being this really bright guy, but he took a wrong turn.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we just scratched the surface here of L.A. Ice, and certainly we invite you to pick up the book to read this story. Kathleen Dayan has been with us this morning. She is a local author from the South Shore, and the book is available now. Is that correct, Kathleen?
That's correct.
Okay, and people can also find you and connect with you up on the Facebook. You got an author page up there, I see. So look for Kathleen Dayan. That's Dayan, and you can give it the old like sign, right?
And the book's on Amazon and available on Kindle next week, right?
That's right. It's hard copy right now. Just you can plug in LA Ice.
Perfect.
All right. Well, let's give away a copy of this book this morning to someone out there that would like to read this story, and we'll give this away right now, Lisa.
We'll do that. We'll give this book away to caller number 5. Caller 5 at 781-837-4900. 781-837-4900. Caller number 5.
Kathleen Dayan. Kathleen, thank you for coming in today.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Rob.